to order. Time is 6:31. August 25th, 2026, the Charlton Select Board meeting. Town Hall Meeting Room 1, 37 Main Street.
What's with that? Yeah.
Yeah, just about to pull the microphone a little closer.
This meeting is being recorded and broadcast live on Charlton Cable Access TV, on Spectrum TV, Channel 191, and recording available on the YouTube channel for Charlton TV. Any member of the public who wishes to record the meeting must first notify the chair. And with that, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Moving on to appointments.
All right, a few appointments for this evening. We had an appointment for the Master Plan Steering Committee. Joel Panitude attaches a talent bank form from Joel Panitude seeking to be appointed to the Master Plan Steering Committee. Mr. Panitude's attended the last Master Plan Steering Committee meeting, and I'd recommend the board make the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, we have to do a roll call vote. All in favor? Steve, aye.
Basha, aye.
Mike, aye. David, aye. Is that a roll call?
Karen,
vote?
I.
Because we have a remote participant.
Oh, I see.
It's unanimous.
All right.
And welcome aboard. Thank you.
The next appointment is for the Zoning Board of Appeals, alternate member to the full board. The Zoning Board of Appeals has one full member opening. At their meeting on August 18, 2026, they voted to recommend the Select Board appoint alternate member Alani Stanley as a full member. I'd recommend the board make the appointment as requested. We'll
So
post the
moved.
alternate.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, I have a second?
Yep. Second.
Second. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Basha, aye.
Steve, aye.
Mike, aye.
David, aye.
Karen, I.
Unanimous.
All right.
Thank you, Karen.
And finally, we have a resignation from the Highway Department. Attaches a letter from Shane Gansky resigning his position as heavy equipment operator for the Charlton Highway Department effective August 20th, 26. Board should accept his resignation.
So moved with regrets, and if we could please send a note.
Will do.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second.
Second.
Basha,
Roll
aye.
call. Steve, aye.
Mike, aye.
David, aye.
Karen, I.
Okay, unanimous. And then moving on to action items.
All right, first, we have invited DCRSD Superintendent Steve LaMarche to tonight's meeting to discuss schools, capital items, and projects at the MSBA. Also, Joe, take this with the school, so give me just 1 second to pull up their presentation.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
thank you, thank you for
Thanks
coming.
for having
tonight.
us.
Yeah.
Again, this has been a capital plan that's been a long time in process. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Joseph DeSantis, Director of Finance and Operations for DCRSD. We're here with Stephen LaMarche, Superintendent, and Anthony Aubie from the school committee is joining us as well. Now, this PowerPoint deck is directly related to the information sessions and the capital information that we have and that we'll be sharing with school committee, with the public, and with our staff and residents. So I'll briefly go through the slides that we have. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me and let me know. I'll be happy to answer anything as we go. All right, so you can go to the next slide. So here's a brief agenda. We'll have an overview of our past projects, our facilities condition assessment, MSBA, what's included, not included, general timeline, an early debt schedule and tax impact, and then any questions that we can field at the time of the information sessions. So go to the next slide. Here's an overview of our past projects, our major renovations and construction, 2000. You can see both middle schools, new construction, some doors and windows and athletic field renovations at Shepherd Hill. And our most recent capital request is 2023, where we put some new roofs on Dudley Middle and Charlton Middle School, as well as upgraded fire alarm panels, radio communications, and cameras. Here is a one-page summary of the facilities condition assessment from Habib and Associates from 2024. This provides a per-school breakdown of all of the projects identified within the facility condition assessment, and it grades them on a scope 1 to 3. On severity, 1 being the least severe, 3 being the most severe. You can see Heritage School is by far and away I don't call them the winner in this, but you can see the biggest need financially seems to be Heritage School. I will note that DCRSD in April put in statements of interest for Heritage School and for Shepherd Hill through MSBA, where they would be funding the vast majority of MSBA eligible projects, but I'll get into that further after this slide. You can see the total is approximately 139 million. That was as of 2024. They have accounted for inflation over the scope of several years, so we're looking at anywhere between 139, 164 million. Obviously, the longer we wait, the more expensive labor and materials become. So it definitely behooves us to want to attack these projects earlier rather than later and not compound any issues that may already be in scope 1 or 2. Or obviously, we want to stay away from failure of anything in scope 3. Next slide. Here's MSBA, Mass School Building Authority, just a general update. It's an authority created to reform the process of funding specifically capital improvement projects in the Commonwealth's public schools. And MSBA provides the vast percentage of funding required for projects that are identified and fall within their scope of MSBA eligibility. Funding to address the projects are identified as either MSBA eligible, one of 2 buckets, MSBA eligible, MSBA ineligible. Our capital requests that we are bringing to you are specifically for projects that are considered not MSBA eligible. So MSBA would not be able to provide any funding for this, hence why we're coming directly to the municipalities for approval. Anything that is listed as an MSBA eligible project, we are going to pursue MSBA funding for. Obviously, like I had said, Heritage and Shepherd Hill were the highest dollar value issues within the scope of work. So we did enter statements of interest with MSBA, and school committee voted the Heritage School as the top priority based on the scope of work. You can go to the next slide. So what's included in the current capital request? There are 5 major categories that they've been broken down to. Building site safety, the exterior envelope and weatherization measures, interior health and safety, mechanical systems, and IT. Next slide. Now this is a summary for both Dudley and Charlton for all 5 major categories that are included within the capital request. You'll see the total cost at the bottom right between Dudley and Charlton is $11,183,734, which matches what Unibank had provided us for borrowing. Obviously, that's it could be subject to change, but this is the amount that we are asking for authorization to borrow. And you can see the breakdown between the 5 categories for both Dudley and Charlton. So I'm happy to answer any questions on what that involves. However, I will have an accompanying document that lists all of our projects in one of these 5 categories with the subtotals created so that you can verify those totals if there's any question.
And those are coming up in these slides?
Those will be coming up. I do have secondary backup that we're going to add that gives full detail that goes along with the facilities condition assessment, but that was a little lengthy to put into this presentation.
Yeah.
But I'm more than happy to provide that documentation to the Board of Selectmen. Okay, next slide. Here's our general timeline that we're looking at. July of this year, school committee authorized the debt in the district-wide election. This upcoming September, obviously, we have the district-wide ballot and vote along with our information sessions on September 2nd and 3rd for Dudley and Charlton. July 2027 would be the issuance of a BAN, which is a bond anticipation note, which is utilized to start funding for specific projects. And that's when we would consider having our groundbreaking, approximately around that time, toward the middle, the end of summer of next year. The following year, July of 2028, that BAN expires, and we would issue a general obligation bond and pay off the band at that time to get permanent financing for the identified projects. August to November 2028, the first interest on bonds is due, and May 29 would be the first payment of the bonds, with the final payment being 15 years later, May 2043.
15 years.
Okay, next slide, please. Now, this is a sample for Charlton specifically of the debt schedule that we would be looking at. On the left side, you'll notice the principal, interest, grand total, and on the right, you'll see a sample of the tax rate and the average single-family home tax impact on an annual basis. Again, these will be refined more as the project goes on, but this is as close to accurate as we can get at this time. So if there's no questions on that, we can move to the next slide.
Well, how were you able to tell what our tax rate was going to be?
This was done in conjunction with Unibank. So we
2041?
so they take the total tax roll, they take the average value for a single-family residence, and they project out from there.
So the average house over that term period of, what's it, 13 years, 14 years, is $1,000
Yes.
So, to the chair.
per household.
Yeah, because this is a little confusing when I looked at it.
To the chair, I'll just clarify, they're taking this on the basis of the current assessed value, current assessed values and extrapolating it as compared to the grand total of what's due. So whatever your home value is per thousand, I believe that, right now we're at low tens for our tax rate. So you would essentially, if that project was being financed currently, say in year one, that's add 10 cents to the current tax rate. The average single-family home is based off the average of all single-family homes. So that's how those numbers are directly derived. It's not a projection to say in 30 years that we're gonna have the exact same tax rate.
Correct. And that's
So
important
that, so
to
that
note,
grand total
assessed value.
column is what, is how our assessment from the school will increase every year.
I'm sorry, say that
That
again.
will be our assessment from the school every year. So if we took an average of that grand total column, it looks like
I mean-
550, 600,000 a year, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you could take an average, but then again, there are a lot of variables that are involved in that equation. You can use that, I guess, as kind of a general guideline, but again, a lot of variables are
Well,
gonna lead
for our
up to that
planning, if
point.
we're looking at other
Yes.
things, I'm like, so this is
Yes.
600,000 would be a safe.
Yes, yes. Yep. Okay, next slide, if there are no more questions. This is Dudley, you can pass on that. And we will have a full breakdown of what's not included of the projects that are listed as MSBA eligible. That'll be provided in the final deck, which actually should be completed and published tomorrow. That's the one piece we don't have in there. The other piece we don't have included in the presentation, but will be provided. We have a frequently asked questions document that you can provide, or that we can provide during the presentation, that will hopefully get ahead of some of the major questions that will be on voters' minds. So again, I'll get that out to you as well. So I'm happy to answer any short-term questions you may have for now.
As far as moving ahead from this ask, so the vote on this is the end of September?
September 29th, Tuesday, correct?
29th. And I thought I saw somewhere, and just for my own information, this is gonna be between the two towns, it's gonna be done on popular vote,
It's a combined majority vote, yes.
combined
So if one
majority vote.
town,
It wasn't done like that last time, right?
Yes, it
So-
was.
Mhm.
Yes,
It was?
in 2022, yes.
Oh, I thought, why did I think if for some reason, if Dudley passed and Charlton didn't,
You,
It
I think
didn't.
you're thinking about the feasibility study for MSBA.
oh, that might,
So
oh, is
that's
that
very
what it is?
different than
Oh,
the,
yeah,
than the
yeah,
capital plan.
yeah.
and that's again very important for me to stress, is that all of these projects that are involved in this capital request are not MSBA eligible. So again, it would be a combined majority vote between the two
Combined
towns.
majority vote.
Correct.
What makes the project or an item not MSBA approved?
So that's a long question. There isn't a quick, easy answer to that. If you explore MSBA's website, they give a full, detailed breakdown. But again, it's certain systems fall under one of two categories within MSBA. They have either the core program or an accelerated repair program. Within each of those two major programs under MSBA, they have what's considered their list of qualifying projects. So again, we take this list of our total capital projects, and our total projects that are listed on the facility condition assessment, and we went through and we individually verified each project for MSBA eligibility. Go ahead.
To try to help out with that, so for example, Heritage, because everything's under safety, looking at the new phone system, you could argue that would fall under MSBA, but MSBA wants to see that you're continuing to improve your facilities when you enter into their grant program. But they're not qualifying means that there's no MSBA program just for telephones. So that's a global approach to us. That's the whole capital approach to us on this. So that's why it's you. I appreciate the question. I just wanted to try to add a little bit more clarity to that as well.
Appreciate it.
That's really, Heritage is really the, not that this isn't concerning, because that's a lot of money as well, 600,000 on average, but the, Heritage is really the concern, I think, coming down.
Yeah,
It is for everybody, right? So just to let the people at home know and what, that building is either going to, be repaired or replaced, and the word replaced has come up. I
Yeah,
heard you say it once,
correct.
actually, more than once.
Through you, the chair. MSBA, you have to explore every option with MSBA. You can't pick which one you want. You can
Yeah.
lean any way you want to lean, but MSBA requires you to do the numbers on either a raise the building in new construction or a update of the current facility. You have to go through all of those amalgamations of the process in order to be in their grant program.
And they make that determination whether or not it's raised or,
That's through the feasibility study?
They may not, they don't make, the communities will always make the final decision, but they will make the recommendation. And what I've seen over time, the cost variance makes the decision. So a raise and rebuild may be cheaper than a update to the facility. So obviously you would lean towards that. That's what feasibility does, is that approaches those figures for you. But a updated facility may be cheaper than a raise and reconstruction as well. So
yeah,
that's why they force you to go through all of those pieces.
And through the chair, just to further that point, when you do the feasibility study, they globally look at all your assets, all your buildings in the district to see how that works in the puzzle. It's not just one building all on its own, because they may look at, do we shift, do we bolster here? So it's a very robust assessment.
and you were eligible, or did I hear somewhere that they put you on an emergency list for Heritage, or
We're not on, through the chair, we're not on an emergency list, no, but they are coming out September 16th. I sent an email inviting you to attend. They're coming out to look at the building. They have not officially invited us into any program or grant program or anything at this point in time. That would be the next step. We're at least in line at this point in time, but we have not been officially invited in.
I was under the impression that something got them moving on Heritage a little quicker.
The school committee actually, with submitting both SOIs for Shepherd Hill and Heritage, MSBA wanted us to prioritize, wanted the school committee to prioritize, and they prioritized Heritage because of the obviously the need you can see. They prioritized Heritage over Shepherd Hill, which is tough, because Shepherd Hill obviously needs some support as well, but the school committee is the one who prioritized Heritage for the submission of the statement of interest to MSBA.
And for the town, one of the scary things about that is that whether it's a repair or a knockdown, what MSBA doesn't cover, the town of Charlton is responsible for. So that could be a $40 million to $80 million.
Through the chair, yes. The way the regional agreement is that Charlton is responsible for the Charlton capital improvements of the Charlton schools. Yes.
So if it were to be a rebuild, to rebuild a school, I mean, you're looking at $100 million.
Through the chair, I'd hate to put a number on anything at this point in time, because, for example, somebody may have the idea, like I've had, that maybe we put an addition on Charlton Middle School for a rebuild, and then you don't have to construct all the other parts of the facility that are already in place. You know, there are certain things that you'd have to look at. That's the whole feasibility part of that. So I'd hate to put a number on anything right now, but yes, you're talking about millions of dollars, no question about it. Yep.
North of 50 anyway, though, no matter what we do, whether it's a repair or no matter what we do.
A lot of things can change. The feasibility study and what the MSBA program is willing to commit is, we'd have to wait and see. It would be too early to make any commitments.
And in a time frame, I know it's
Years.
time frame for that is
through the chair, if you're invited into the program, it takes a couple of years just to get set up. You have to go through, they have a very scriptive process you have to go through. That's why with Shepherd Hill, we started that in 2023, 24. And we didn't make it all the way through, so that's why. But it took us, remember, we filed an SOI, Statement of Interest, for 14 years in a row for Shepherd Hill before they actually invited us into the grant program. But it takes several years. I always estimate five years before you actually put a shovel in the ground.
Yeah.
But that's when we get invited in. We're not invited in yet. So we'd have to wait to get invited in, but it would be close to 5 years before you'd actually, a project could be potentially shovel-ready.
So this is the one we were invited in for the Shepherd Hill and it didn't pass
Correct.
through Dudley.
Yeah, but we submitted the SO, we're still working with MSBA to see where we can go with Shepherd Hill at some point in time. But again, after this report came out, because in 2022, when we really appreciate the town of Charlton supporting us with the roof at Charlton Middle School, it was a huge investment, it was the right investment because of the number of leaks within that particular roof. So when we were putting in for that, we heard that we didn't really have a good assessment of our facilities, and that's why through that capital plan, we did have that Habib come in and do an assessment of all of our facilities. And again, they've identified $135 million worth of work that should be done over, we use years, they used phases, kind of 1, 2, 3. They tried to expedite it. We try to do what we do in public. We try to expand on that time frame a little bit as best as possible. And we identified this is really addressing a lot of the safety and health of the buildings at this point in time.
I actually have that report up. I took a screenshot of it. So out of all the repairs that are needed in scope 1 is the first column, and it's 2 to 5 years, or actually right now, it's scope 1 is now. I have labeled as. If I take out heritage, that's actually not even in scope 1. There's $43 million in now. You're only asking for 11, so there's another 30 million that's going to come up. You'll be here in front of us again after this 11, looking for another 30 million.
So through the chair, don't forget that the Habib's and Associate report, as thorough as it is, does not account for what could and could not be eligible for MSBA applications. So we're doing our due diligence to make sure that we kind of go in a two-prong approach. One would be non-eligible repairs and maintenance for capital that we feel are prudent and responsible, and that were presented by Mr. DeSantis and Mr. Lamarche tonight, and through school committee and subcommittee over the duration of the previous months. And then the second prong is to take the track of the MSBA, which we are currently working with, for example, Heritage, where the school committee prioritized as our statement of interest with Heritage. So we are tackling every approach we can, but that's why when you look at that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, that number is not coinciding with what that presentation.
Yeah,
Did I speak that correctly?
I'm looking at phase
Okay.
1. But then the only MSBA would only come in for Heritage or Shepherd Hill.
You could do accelerated repair programs that are not in the core program, which would be different kinds of projects. So it's not as cut and dry as a whole building. It could be, for example, a roof, or it could be.
Or
So
several
that's why
buildings,
we
yeah,
are pursuing every option with due diligence.
Out of this 48 million, I'm trying to figure out what could potentially come up
Yep. So
on top of the 11. I
Right,
think
so,
you know where
so
it
through
is.
the chair, if you go to our website under finance,
Budget and finance.
budget
page.
and finance page, there's a box that says capital. You can click on that and it has all the information, has all the details and all the information.
Yep, and that'll have the full facilities condition assessment and the per-school breakdown of each project that we're asking for non-MSBA eligibility. They're all numbered, so you can see number project correlates to number project in the facility condition assessment. And again, you'll see on a per-project breakdown what is MSBA eligible and what is not currently, or what we're not asking for capital. And you'll notice a lot of the higher dollar amount scope of work projects are MSBA eligible. So for example, Heritage. The biggest price tag on Heritage is exterior, that is MSBA eligible, I'm sorry. So while it looks like we are requesting a relatively small amount for Heritage, we are hoping and hopeful that the majority of those costs will be picked up through MSBA.
Yeah, where I'm getting at is,
But yet, through the chair, if I could try to answer your question,
yeah,
that's what, I'm gonna say something that doesn't sound right, but that's why we had a conservative approach to the 135 million
yeah,
that was put out there, or the 40 plus million that you're talking about in phase one. That's why we looked at it from every angle we possibly could and reduced it to what do we really need. We took their scopes and we expanded those to like 5-year increments versus them saying this year, 1 year, 1 to 3 years, and, you know, right after 3 to 5 years, something like that. So we're looking at this over a 15-year period, but we're trying to be very, again, it's gonna sound funny, but we're trying to be very conservative with our ask. $11 million doesn't feel conservative in any way, but that's what we are instead of asking for the 50 million. So that 30 million you're talking about could be either grant funded in some way, or we're just gonna wait another 5 years for that. It's not, we didn't see it as something that needed to be done right now, even though they did.
but you could be coming back, because you're still 20 million short, even if I take out Heritage and Shepherd Hill.
Through the chair, you could argue that we're 120 million short.
No, but let's just stick with the 20 million. After the 11, I'm being conservative here too. That's,
No, I'm just saying, I'm trying to give you, I know what your question you're asking, I'm trying to answer it. We tried our best to try to only present what we really need right now in like the first 5-year phase of this, their scopes.
yeah.
So
The
we've
first 5.
spent a lot of time on all of their information. They're the professionals in this. We are not architects, so we try to do that, and we've worked capital sub with school committee, has worked on that and tried to narrow it down to what do we need right now, without trying to overlap with MSBA too much, without trying to overlap with other finances that are going on in our community. So it is a big ask. Don't get me wrong. That's why I mean it's going to sound funny, but we tried to really try to bring it down. The 30 million may not come as 30 million. It may come as something else after. We don't have that, and I would expect that the community would want us to relook at our engineering plan at Habib and Associates and what was done there, and see if there's any updates to that based off of, because we do things year to year. We don't, I want to be clear to the community, we will get points with MSBA because we do have good custodians that work hard on our facilities and make them look the best that they possibly can. So we do things over the years. Joe will tell you that we've invest money each year into our facilities in some way. So that may change that a little bit as well, but we try to only bring to you what we think is really, not desperately, but really needed right now. But I get your question.
And taking MSBA out of the equation completely, over the course of this 15-year loan, are you going to be coming to us for something else? The odds are probably pretty high you will. Another 11 million or another 15 million, just by looking at this.
It may. It's hard to predict what'll happen with the facilities moving forward. But I can say we are reaching a point where these aged facilities and, the mechanical functionality may hit a breaking point at some point.
Yeah.
We do the best we can working within our budget to be able to address health and safety concerns within these buildings on an annual basis. But again, we don't know what problems may or may not arise, what may become more of a priority over time, because it's ever evolving and continually changing. So our ask right now is paramount for health and safety of the building itself. And again, the projects that are not that immediate scope, we did try to, as Superintendent Lamarche said, span that over a larger period of time.
Yeah,
So that
I'm
answers
not
your
arguing the need. I'm trying to predict the future the best we can. And how often are these big hits going to happen? That's the need. I mean, it's wear and tear isn't anybody's fault. That's Father Time. Right? You guys have any questions? And you're going to be, just so the people at home know, September 3rd?
September 3rd, Charlton Middle School Auditorium, 6:30 p.m. I will have this PowerPoint that you saw tonight in addition to other documents that will be provided ahead of the meeting. If there are any questions at all, I'm happy to respond if Board of Selectmen wants to reach out.
And if that is approved, by looking at your calendar, we could potentially have the Maytown meeting if we decided to, that exclude this?
It would be the election that
The
you would want to,
election, yeah, it'd be a
you
ballot.
would want to take that under consideration.
Well, the timing works. Okay.
just last, through the chair, a reminder again, the vote is for this capital, which is a majority vote between the two towns in totality, is September 29th, Tuesday, September 29th. And it's from 8 to, it's not your typical hours, so I just want to make sure.
Let me verify, I believe it's 8 to 4.
I think it's an 8 to 4 vote.
Yep.
It's not- Or 8 to
Oh,
5
8 to
o'clock, or
4.
something like that. It's
8
not
to
your
4.
typical.
Oh, it's not an evening vote either.
It's not an 8 to 8.
I'll verify, but 8 to 4, I believe.
And September 29th.
Andrew, I will be out of state.
And then Dudley is going, they're tagging on their
Same night.
override. on
I'm
the
sorry?
s- they're-
Same night.
Dudley is tagging on their override on the same,
Correct, yes.
their operational town override on the
Yes.
same
Yep.
ballot.
Okay,
Okay, gentlemen, thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your time. And next we have the Community Center Feasibility Committee.
So go to pull the PowerPoint presentation that you sent. Yeah, would you like me to pull up the PowerPoint presentation? Okay.
I have mine in front
You
of
just have to
me,
tell me when to
and I think
scroll.
you guys, yeah, okay. I think you guys
Oh,
have
you
a
have it
copy
up?
of it,
Oh,
too.
good. Andrew, what am I doing now?
I'm here only as an advisor. I'm not on the committee. I'm Michelle,
You guys know Michelle.
Council on Aging Director, not on the committee, just an advisor.
And I'm Pat Stockwell. I'm the chair of
Can you slide it?
I'm Pat Stockwell, chair of the
Okay.
Senior Community Center Feasibility Committee.
Bruce Menon. I serve on the feasibility committee, and Kathleen Dermody is also here from the feasibility committee.
And I also sent you guys a full copy of the Lero report, because I think in your agenda packet, there's only a couple pages in there, a memo. So you can find all the gory details, all the,
And Andrew did send that to
Cost.
us a couple of weeks ago,
okay,
so,
okay, good.
yeah, we did.
So you have had time
we
then,
did.
good.
Cool.
That's good. All right, so the first slide, basically just looking back in time, in 2008, the last time we did a master plan, they were already talking about the need for a senior center at that point in time. Then in 2022, it came up again. There was actually a citizen's petition that went on the warrant, and they had said that they had literally been looking for a center since 1993. So we're really kind of bursting at the seams at this point. So the next slide, a little bit of the history. The Center Feasibility Committee was created in July 2022 by the Select Board with the charge to develop a plan for a new senior community center. So I've been on this committee for 4 years now. I think Baja actually was on the committee with us back then. After that, we looked at various properties. We discussed them to make a decision and put out an RFP for a tear down and a new build at the Arts and Activities Center over on Dresser Hill Road, at the beginning of Dresser Hill over here. We then interviewed several architectural firms, I think maybe like 6, 7, something like that, in April of 2023, and we chose T2 Architecture. We held various site visits. We went to see the T2 municipal buildings, some other senior centers. And then in April of 2024, we got the final report from them, and the committee decided that the $21.8 million project was not feasible. So during 2025, we continued looking. We found a commercial property over at the trolley crossing. We toured it and we researched it. We even drew a floor plan up for what we wanted in there. But unfortunately, the owners were unwilling to work with a municipal timeline of town meeting and election. So by mid-2025, we toured the Dresser Hill property, better known as the furniture store, and we decided that we'd pursue it, and we acquired the feasibility funds at the fall special town meeting, this past fall special town meeting. And then Lero Hill was chosen by Andrew to do a feasibility plan with options for either the Dresser Hill property or a town hall addition and renovation. So that's where we are now. The next page, just some demographics of Charlton. Our current population is 13,737. In 1996, we had 1,200 seniors. In 2008, we had 2,051 seniors, which was a 71% increase. And today, in 2026, we have 3,960 seniors, which was a 93% increase during that time period, from 2008 to 26. And those numbers came from Central Mass Regional Planning Commission and the UMass Boston Center for Social and Demographic Research on Aging. And if you notice, we have over 55 in here as well, but technically, seniors are 60 and over. So, as you can see, we have another 1,100 seniors coming up in the next few years to add to that number. The next one, why do we need a center? The present center is inadequate. It cannot fully accommodate walkers and wheelchairs. It's tenuously compliant. I'm sure you've all been down there. There's stairs and ramps to get up to the bathrooms. That door is not automatic, so it's difficult for people with, disability issues, or even just generally for older people to get through there. We can't park more than 13 cars, and only 5 of those are handicap spots. And we did a survey, and people literally came back and said, I'd like to go to the senior center, but I'm not gonna fight for parking up there. We also can't hold concurrent programs. This center is less than a quarter the size of the recommended state guidelines, and those guidelines are 5 to 6 square feet per senior. So you do the math, and even at that, 21,780 square feet, none of the projects we've looked at would even come close to that. We also can't offer any kind of privacy for nurse visits, taxes, Medicare, even private consultation. If the staff needed to meet in a setting, say with the family or outside consultants or something, there were several people, there's no conference center. And it's difficult to meet in those 2 offices that are right in the hallway where everybody's like coming in and out all the time. They also cannot offer the scope of classes for the various capabilities. You have, younger seniors who can do a lot more things than older or people with other disabilities. We also can't offer most outdoor activities. Occasionally, they go out on the town common, or risk their lives going across Main Street to go behind the Arts and Activities Center. Also, we don't have an office for the activities assistant. Basically, she has a desk that's thrown in a storage activity room. And we can't properly store and secure food and medical equipment, which, leaving it out in the open, things can get lifted, obviously. And then lastly, it doesn't provide for the additional space that's needed by the municipal offices. And another thing with the town hall renovation is if we would do that, then there'd be a lot of disruption at the town hall. Where would the senior program go? And even people that are not part of the senior center probably would get disrupted by that. The next one is just the mission statement. I'm sure you guys have seen it before, so I won't read it to you. Everybody knows what the senior center does. There's a lot of good stuff for a lot of people. And actually, on that last slide with the demographics, our database shows that there's about 1,150 people that actually use the center for one thing or another.
1150?
1,150. And if you take that number and you multiply it out by the state guidelines, it still doesn't even come close to it's way more than what we have downstairs. And that's people, that doesn't mean they're going there every day. You don't have 1,150 people going there every day. That means there are people that are using the services. Some of them do come all the time, and others want to find out information, about how to sign up for Medicare or whatever, different things. So they may go to a specific entertainment thing and not come back for anything else. But there's.
I think that's the question. One of the biggest questions I have is around the square footage and how many people actually, why you need a building that big.
Mm-hmm.
That's how many people actually attend. In my opinion, something should be done. When you get into that wants versus needs thing, something needs to be done, but when you get to a certain size, you get to a certain dollar amount. And what could you do? Could you be satisfied with half of that 13 million? And we can get into that a little bit later. Could you find a solution around 6 million rather than 13 million? I just think the square footage is, I'm not convinced you need a building that big.
Well,
I'm one of 5, but that's just my,
Can I ask a question for you?
okay.
Clarification for the 1,150 users, is that a day, a month, a week, a year, just individual users?
That's just individuals from town that have used services or
Over the
not.
course of a year.
Every year, yeah.
So we've got people, if I
Go
can,
ahead.
if that's
oh,
okay.
please do.
Steve, we've got folks that you don't see that, we certainly don't have 1,150 in that center in a given month or anything like that. However, there's folks that we serve that you just don't see. We handle elder neglect, fraud, abuse. We handle all kinds of situations with homeless issues or hoarding or all kinds of things, horribly dark things that we don't put on the Facebook page and say, this is what we did today. You know, some things are so incredibly sad. Or we went, this month we went to a hospital for a man that did not have any family and he was passing away and we held his hand while he passed. There's things that we do that are not cheery and happy and sunshine and flowers, and they are vital services for elderly folks. You know, housing issues, food scarcity issues, just loneliness, isolation, all kind of the durable medical equipment which is like walkers and wheelchairs and rollators and canes and crutches and all that. It's in a dungeon, which is you have to get through the ladies' room in order to get. And it's literally, it looks like a dungeon. I'm not trying to be dramatic with that. It's all back there. This week we had to wait for 3 or 4 ladies to use the bathroom in order for me to serve another lady that was trying to get a wheelchair for her father. So I mean, it's just kind of incredulous that the senior center kind of looks like a bomb shelter a little bit. And I would like, if it was my mom or dad living in a community, I would like them to go to a center that looks like the town cares about its seniors. And the way it looks right now, it looks like they are not even second-class citizens. And I just feel like the population is so large in the town now for seniors that we just need a building that is adequate for their needs, because they have needs. And you may not see like all the bright and shiny parts of it, like the dark stuff that we do, but the seniors have, they want to go to a place that they're proud of and feel good about. And when you build a new senior center or renovate a new senior center, the state will tell you that usage quadruples. That's standard.
Yeah. So the next slide basically is all the things they do, so I'm just gonna kind of skip that. Then this came from our survey. We actually did a survey that we sent out to every senior household in the town. And we also have an online survey going on right now that's more for the community, that will end the 1st of September. And, I mean, this is showing you the various reasons that people use the center, come to the center. And as you can see, to see their friends is at the top, because it's proven in study after study that seniors who socialize have a higher quality of life. And they live longer, that's right.
So those are the surveys that you had, the paper ones that you had and you were handing out?
That went out to the seniors. The paper ones went to the seniors. And the online one basically is the rest of the community. Okay, so the next page basically is just a quick comment on the community center. Presently, the community utilizes the library, the Arts and Activity Center, and the Grange when appropriate and available to hold events. And available is a biggie, because the library just is like packed all the time. It's really difficult. And luckily, they allow a lot of the senior center events to go over there too, because there's overflow that happens over there.
Would you mind if I just?
Sure, go ahead.
We have to put our yoga, we have 2 yoga classes over at the library because it's a huge class and we just don't have the space for it. So we have our yoga, there's people that come to the senior center activities that have probably never met some of the other seniors because they're over at the library. I've got 2 yoga classes at the library, and I have a threaded together group at the library. And it's just challenging. We also have had, arts, as Pat had indicated, activities at the Arts and Activity Center, because we just don't have a place to have like a little campfire and live music here at the center here. So we've been spreading. We've had stuff at the Grange before. We just are kind of scattered all over town because we just can't fit the need at the center. So when you say you don't see people at the center, it's because we're on satellite offices.
That's what I was just gonna say,
yeah.
which actually shows there's more people using it than you think,
You-
they're just
but
not
you're
down in the
also,
senior center.
you're making use of underutilized spaces in the library as well.
There isn't any underutilized space in the library.
Good luck.
Maybe
in
that's an
space.
Well, I mean,
activities,
have
but
you
not
ever
in the
tried to
library.
use Dexter Hall and it's not available?
Yes, many times. They're very popular, they call it the Jewel of Charlton, and
It is,
we'd like to put another jewel in the crown.
yeah, and we'd be remiss if we didn't thank them for that. I mean,
Absolutely,
they
wonderful to us.
do a lot for us.
Our New Year's Eve party is over there every year, because it's elegant and it's,
So the name change from the Charlton Senior Center Building Committee is now Building and Community Center Committee.
Well, originally, when the select board gave us the charge for this, it was community center. It was called a community center. And in other towns where they call it a community center, it's actually a senior community center, but that's just a mouthful.
Oh, all right.
So,
It was semantics.
so it was meant to,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then,
yeah.
and then the activity center was tied into it at one point, and that's where you're.
yeah, we'll get into that. Anyways, so the committee determined that the town would benefit, based on the survey feedback that we got, the town would benefit from a space that was earmarked for community activities specifically. So people are looking for that. The center proposal is a proposal to purchase and renovate the existing Charlton Furniture Building in town and to provide our seniors with a new, safe, accessible, modern, and efficient building to provide them with the best senior programs we can offer. And in addition, this proposal will offer an opportunity to expand offerings to the greater community after hours and on weekends. So the way, we actually went on some tours of other places that were very similar, and the way they work it is, it's clear that during the day, Monday through Thursday, that's for the seniors and not for the community. But that after hours and weekends, events can be scheduled and but that would all have to be, that's details that would all have to be worked out after the fact. That's nothing that we planned for at this point in time.
Yeah, if I could also add that, in the last community that I lived in, when we built the senior community center, it was designed to have access in the evening. School committee moved their meetings there, a number of town committees and commissions meet there, and there's also activities for the greater community that take place there. And that's, we had the experience where I lived, where we tried to do a senior center twice, took it to the voters, and it got turned down. When we conceptualized it as a senior community center, where the community had access to it, it passed by 70%, because it's a need.
Okay, so the next slide, basically the project planning, I've already talked about getting the feasibility funds and that we engaged Lero. The center that we have is currently located in the lower level of the town hall and is approximately 4,400 square feet. The town requested an evaluation of whether the senior center can be accommodated within the town hall long-term, or whether relocation to an alternate facility would better meet the current and future program needs. As part of this effort, the committee identified the Dresser Hill Furniture Store property as an alternate location and sought to understand the base building upgrades, code implications, and spatial feasibility required to convert that facility for senior center use. This study also built upon prior feasibility work that was completed by T2 in 2024, and we reviewed a side-by-side comparison of the options with a potential town hall addition and renovation effort. The committee agrees with the Lero Hill recommendation, if you looked at the report, that the Dresser Hill Road property is the best solution, so.
And the Council on Aging also.
And the
voted
council,
same.
yeah, Council on Aging voted that as well. This is just some shots out of the Lero. If you look at Lero, you can see all the details. This one's the site plan. Dresser Hill Road is at the top, and so as you can see, if you go there and you look at the building, on the left-hand side, there's a white building. Kinda looks like a house. That's gonna be torn down. That was determined to be not salvageable. So that would be torn down. So we'd have parking all the way around. And on that same side where that building is now, that little jut that you see would be a portico. So, people can drive in under that and get in and out in the weather. Then down at the bottom, that rectangle that's down closer to the red lines, red squiggly lines, that would be a little bump out addition that would be for mechanical, HVAC, whatever. And then it also gives us some space for outdoor activities, obviously, green space. And on the right there, there's the potential for patio and screen porch. So, and we'd be able to do a lot more with outdoor activities.
If I can also add to that, we've established a Friends of the Charlton Senior Community Center group, and at our last meeting, we voted to try to help subsidize the patio, the portico. So we'll be raising funds to go towards that.
So the procurement would be the entire, it's 2.2 acres, is that what
I thought it was 3.8, but I believe Lero said it's 2.2 for
2.2.
this, and that could have been after it got split, because the building on the left, there,
And
it
that
says
building-
existing building, that's like some electric company.
The building, yeah, if I'm looking at it, the building on the right.
On the
is-
right,
is
yeah.
the
From
electric
from
company.
here, it's on the
The building on the left is gonna
Correct.
be
Raised.
The building
by-
on the
by-
left is
by
gonna
the
be
cellar,
demolished. Yeah,
by the cellar.
that's part of the plan, that would be demolished and made into parking, a little bit of green space over on that side.
Negro Hill determined that it
I-
was
yeah.
mushy and not salvageable.
Did you have another question about that?
No,
Okay.
go ahead, you can go on.
Okay.
I do have more questions, but you might cover it.
Okay, the next one is just a quick look at the floor plan. And as you can see, the actual program space is 9,000 square feet, so nowhere near that number of what's recommended by the state, but more than twice the space that we have today, which will go a long way.
What
And-
was the number, Pat? The
The
state,
original was, downstairs is 4,400, and this is
that
9,000.
the state was recommending?
Oh, it was between 5 and 6 square feet per senior. So we took like 5.5 and multiplied it by 3,960, it ends up being
Well,
about
that- you're not gonna-
21,000 square
we'd be-
feet.
We'd be buying Shepherd Hill at that
Right.
point.
Yeah,
So that's-
exactly.
that's-
It's
but
crazy.
We have to get to a real,
And that's what we're attempting to do. We're attempting to get to something that's reasonable. So the total square footage of the entire building would be 13,500 to 14 square feet. The next slide, this basically came straight out of the Lero report, where they were doing the comparisons of the furniture store to the town hall, their evaluation criteria, program fit, accessibility, site functionality, operational efficiency, feature flexibility, and the estimated construction cost. And I'm sure you're looking at the bottom number first, so 11.6 million for the furniture store and 10.7. So it is a little bit less, whatever that comes to, 890,000,
it's not
880,000,
less.
whatever it is. It's not a lot less. And it also doesn't consider whether the systems in the town hall can handle, like, what they would need to do that addition. And
It doesn't include purchasing the property either. That 11.6 doesn't include the purchase.
Or staff.
we're not up to that yet. The
Hmm?
purchase of the
Or
property,
staffing.
yeah, it doesn't. We're not up to that. This is just for the
Yeah.
renovation of the property. So the next one is basically some estimates that we had done, with the purchase being 2 million, the renovation being 12 million, for a total of
Oh, there we-
14. The annual debt service a little over $1 million, and the average tax increase per taxpayer would be $251 per
So-
year.
So with demolition of those buildings, there was one building you said, so we're paying $2 million hypothetically speaking for the land?
This is for the property with the buildings and, yeah.
That we have to demolish to pay
You're
for that demolition?
demolishing the one building on the left.
In your
On the one, the
Yes.
small little one, on the
That-
blue one?
No, the small one on the left. It's not really that small, but the one on the left. You're
On the left.
facing it from
2.2
Dresser
acres.
Hill, it's the one on the left, the
So-
white building. So the
so-
big building, the furniture building, the showroom,
Uh-huh,
stays.
stays, that,
That
how
stays.
big is that space?
I wanna say that's about 12,000 to 13,000 square feet.
Uh-huh,
It's in that range,
oh, thank you.
okay. Now, the next page, potential cost reductions, the actual recent quote that we got was 1.8 for that property, and I think actually originally when they were trying to sell it, it was like 2.2. So it's come down quite a bit. The actual Lero renovation estimate, as you saw from the last page, is 11.6 for a total of 12.5, so 12.5 instead of 14 million. And then Bruce already mentioned the 501c3. And they are actually an official 501c3 now, so they'll be eligible to apply for grants and whatnot, in addition to fundraisers that they're already doing. In the middle here, I'm on the BEST, the ESA Citizens Advisory Committee, and if we were to do something like a solar panel BESS operation over there, and eliminate all the HVAC, that, you know, and all of that for heating and cooling, that would be something we could take off the top, because basically we're talking with them about the kinds of things we can get back for the community. And that's one of the things we've talked about, what can we get for the senior center? And this specifically, actually, so I don't know if it would be all of it, some portion of it, but it would not be insignificant. And then hopefully we're gonna negotiate a pilot with them. And if you look at other towns like Carver has a BESS, they ended up with a $1.6 million pilot.
I don't know if it's really up to this is why I'm a little confused on that, on the building committee, on the senior center building committee negotiating a pilot.
We're not.
Yeah.
It's not the senior center building committee. I just happen to be on the Citizens Advisory Committee for the ESA.
Okay.
So I just know that we're attempting to get things for the town, and so this was a possibility that down the road, especially the pilot, down the road, that could help pay for the loan. Because obviously it's not gonna happen, no matter what happens, it's not gonna happen like tomorrow. This is something that they probably wouldn't even break ground for like 3 to 5 years. So, but it's something that the pilot piece of it is something the town would be negotiating. And I assume you'd have like lawyers that would be specialized in this to negotiate that, to get the maximum you can.
This board hasn't even taken a position on any of that yet, but.
Right, I just have a question, do these costs include demolition and disposal? Because if not, that's gonna be additional, I'd like to know what that
As-
cost is.
As far as I could tell from looking at the report, it does cover that.
It includes all the costs for demolition?
Yes.
And disposal of all the
Yes.
HVAC, everything they take out?
Yes.
That's in the 2 million purchase?
No, that's
No,
that's
part
in
of
the
the
Lero
renovation.
The
report for the
renovation.
renovation.
That's in the-
But that also doesn't include, let's say you said, Pat, 3 to something years to even get to this point, so that's also the deterioration of the building. We might ended up demolishing them all.
Oh, well, I'm not saying we're gonna wait 3 to 5 years. What I'm saying is that if we were to pass this and we have to get a loan to pay for it, we'd have to stop paying for it, you know, obviously whenever the thing was built and ready to go, a couple of years from now. But the best piece of it, if that happens, is gonna be down the road. That would be down the road. Some kind of a pilot payment that would allow us to help pay for these things, not just this, anything else we need to pay for, like schools.
That was my next question to will seniors accept the tax increase?
What makes that property of 2 acres worth $2 million? If that doesn't include the demolition, I mean,
It does include the demolition.
the
It's
$2
just the
million
Lero
is part of the
report.
renovation.
Oh, it's really 1.8 million, and, I
So
mean,
we're effectively paying for the land in a building
Right.
that we're not gonna use, so we can then tear it down, cause we only want the land.
That's
No,
not true.
no, it's only one building that's being
There's
torn
2
down.
buildings there.
There's 2 buildings.
But I've read the 74-page,
The
Lero
Lero
It's an
report.
expensive
Lero
piece of
report,
land.
I did, and it's,
Yeah.
through the renovation, it does go into great detail. It's a steel building, you're pretty much knocking it down, you're leaving the steel frame, that's
Right.
pretty much
Which
it.
is
You know,
kinda-
It
it's
is,
got a-
it is a major, and it does say
new
that, it's a
roof,
major
It's new sides,
renovation.
it's new walls, it's new septic,
Everything.
it's new well, it's,
So we better
you,
to
you,
demolish that
you,
too.
it's-
All
you
together.
are, in fact, you are probably paying 1.8 million for 2.2 acres of land, cause it's just the steel frame, it's all that's left.
We all
Pretty much.
been, we all been there, we've been there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
oh, yeah.
So, you know,
And you're gonna design a building that's designed for the seniors with certain, color schemes that for low vision.
Right.
It's going to be designed for the seniors. It's not going to be just kinda something that's
Yeah, well,
kinda,
any building we will build will be designed for seniors, there will be a
and
senior
this is
center,
great.
sort of.
That's
And the
great
There was a
community.
furniture store, that's my
And the
understanding.
community,
think-
hopefully.
A great opportunity for the seniors and the community, yeah.
It's not a question that, and I even said earlier, it's not, something should be done. It's, and after reading that report and looking at it, I question the cost. And we are looking to spend, your ask tonight is
12 and a half,
what?
12 and a half.
12 and a half million.
Well, I think
That's
we
what you're
asked
going to
them
ask
to
us?
Put it on the warrant, not
Yeah, to put it on, we're asking to put it on the warrant.
Put
as a
what on
debt
the
ex-
warrant?
A question to
Article.
purchase an article on the warrant to
To purchase the building
the property.
for 1.8.
And hopefully to pay for the renovation as well, because it doesn't do us a lot of good to have the building without the money for the renovation.
We
And
would
then
only,
$200,000 a year,
Huh?
and then another almost 200K a year. You have to
I don't understand how
buy.
you wanna put that on the warrant. You can't put $12 million on the town meeting warrant.
I'm hung up on the 2 million for 2 acres.
Yeah, no, I know.
I think
Before
our
we-
ask is to
Maybe Andrew,
put it as a ballot question. So that
Come
Well,
people-
it would be it would be both. You'd have to have an article in the town
Mr.
meeting,
Chair,
and
if I
then we'd
may,
have to have a
before we
ballot
have all
question.
the back and forth, maybe for our next meeting, Andrew can come back to us with a proper timeline of how it would have to be. Because we can go back and forth all night on this.
Right.
But until we have, okay, if we wanna take this route or this route, this is the first step, second step, third step, whatever it would require, because some votes require a town meeting vote as well as ballot vote. Let Andrew come back with, okay,
The technicality on that, yeah.
we should know this
Yeah.
before we really go down that rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Through the chair, there are multiple different tracks that you could take if this was the approach that you would want to take for funding, because as, you know, we mentioned a $12 million, $14 million project is obviously something that we'd have to borrow for. And borrowing, doing that, you know, that's its own specific article, it's not just transferring money. But also, because of the size of it, you're gonna be potentially looking for a debt exclusion vote. That debt exclusion vote needs to be tied, you know, with that funding, funding authorization, but then kind of what gets you to the best possible point of selling the project. So, you know, what we're going off is a feasibility study. If we go back to our approach for the fire station, we had an estimate of $15 million at the time, but we didn't feel like we had enough information to really get it to sell it at the, you know, at a ballot vote. So it was an incremental step. We put $500,000 toward furthering that study design, getting more finite, you know, actual construction documents, and then putting it out for a larger project, which ended up being, you know, 18.5 at the end of the day.
But we're not gonna do that if we don't own the building.
Right, and I'm just saying, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
one approach you could take, you know, where something like this is saying, like, all right, we've determined that this is the property that we want to go for. We want to acquire and design, and then
Right, I
do
see this
so
like,
as
almost
a-
like the school committee, it's like, okay, we have that information, but
Right.
we have now homework to do, to come back to the next meeting with, okay, then this would be the first step,
Right.
or this would be where we should be going first in this process. Instead of just, everyone's just throwing stuff against the wall right now.
Well, I was curious what the actual ask is for town meeting. That's,
Well, just that,
Hmm?
purchasing the land with the outbuilding and all the renovation costs, the bottom line, 14 million.
We just want
Which
the
actually is a little high, because like I said, it's 1.8 they're asking, and 11.6 for the
And-
renovation.
yeah, that's not a town meeting
Would like,
item.
I mean, something has to go in the town meeting warrant. I would,
town
No,
meeting,
no,
town meeting would
absolutely.
authorize a debt exclusion vote.
Right.
Right, but it has to
You
be
would still
both.
need to go to a ballot.
Right,
Right.
so it still has to go
Right.
through multiple
Yes.
votes, including the ballot.
And we just want the opportunity for, you know, the democratic process, so that for the town voters to make a decision as to whether or not they wanna, when we did the, I don't know if Pat is gonna get to it, but I'm sure you are, the percentages of all of the surveys of the seniors as well as the community surveys, they're all trending in the same direction. They all support the senior center, even with the tax increase, they are coming back like 80+%.
but where they explain that could potentially be both. Say those numbers will come up to about 250, top of my head, 250 tax increase per household. That's without the schools.
Right, and that,
That's
we
right.
just want the town.
So that would be
people
a
to have it both.
huge, both will be, let's just say, debt exclusions, right? So we
Yeah, they
understand
would
that
be.
process. So when those people are voting and saying they in favor, 93%, were they in favor of both tax increases, or this is just specific to understanding of the community centers,
Well,
such senior, you see what I'm
Our-
saying?
Yeah, our
That's a
questions
big
were about-
increase.
Yes,
For seniors, especially on this fixed budget.
and they're all voting it, but we just want them to have the opportunity to have their say on it, you
Yeah,
know,
no,
either way.
sure.
Yeah, democratic. process, like, you're right, we asked specifically about a community/senior center. We didn't say, hey, did you know that this is going on? There's always gonna be other irons in the fire, always. The seniors have been trying to get a center since 93. Your board and your wisdom appointed the feasibility committee to do its diligence. The town approved the 50,000, and we're just another step in the
It just
process.
has been a while
Yeah.
since we had a big projects like that coming at once.
Yeah.
So that never happened before.
There's
Where
always
the,
gonna be another
Actually.
iron in the fire, and when you're a municipality, you know, it's just so, I just feel like the seniors for us, I feel like they've been trying and trying and trying for decades.
No, and we
decades.
understand that. I think we all realize that this is a need.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm saying is especially seniors on a fixed budget,
Yes.
there is,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be excluded
Yeah.
for the debt exclusion tax increase for the schools.
Yes.
Which we can argue all day long, which is more important right at this moment.
Well, we don't have to put it in us against them, it's everybody's got, you know, there's needs on, and so many areas.
Potentially
you know,
both will pass.
The DPW and all their vehicles, there's so many needs in the town, we get that.
$14 million, they're very
Absolutely.
similar ones.
That's
Yeah.
why I asked the schools if that was accurate. The $1,000 is what they anticipate just in school funds to change tax rates, and then the senior center was another $250.
Right, but specifically, so I'm here with seniors, like, do they understand that there could be both hits at the same
Yeah,
time on a
they're very
fixed income?
astute. They pay attention to the town,
Yeah,
the town finances, they're the ones voting
And
at
that's-
town
and
meetings.
I know, but, you know,
They
it's
are,
huge.
they are, but they also elect us to be stewards of the tax money that
Of
comes in,
course,
right?
of
So
course.
and between the school committee, between all the committees in this room, when the tax bills come out of all the committees, we're the only one that get the phone calls and the emails from many seniors.
I
That,
understand.
I can't believe my taxes went up this, we hear it more, and
Yeah.
we're the ones that would take the heat if something goes bad.
We're just looking for the democratic process to let the whole town.
Absolutely,
It's-
yeah,
I,
sure.
I
Such a big
totally
decision,
understand the
yeah.
democratic process, but,
Yeah.
but we're also being stewards. We're also gonna question, and I agree with Mike on this, we're
Can I
paying,
talk through the chair? Can you
I'm,
hear me?
Karen.
yeah, 1 second.
I wasn't sure, because I'm having
Yeah.
issues hearing, and I apologize if this has already been said. Again, Karen Spiewak, I am the non-voting.
Karen, I would, if you could just wait,
representative.
hold 1 second, I was just gonna finish my thought.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry.
We,
Again, I
yeah,
apologize
we
if
were
I can't hear
looking,
that
I mean,
well.
we're looking at, bottom line here is we're looking to pay $2 million for 2.2 acres of land. That's not,
Yeah, but
that's
it
Land
really
and a
is.
building that exists,
And a
a
huge
framework.
existing building.
Yeah,
the
it's-
framework, and the
Framework.
framework.
It's a
Yeah.
framework, all
And I
right.
mean, if you read the Laro report, they
But
talk about that. It
something
is a
gets it
major
to 14
renovation, but it
million.
isn't
That
just
way,
the
it's-
land.
We're just beating a dead horse at this
Yeah,
point. We're just repeating ourselves
Yeah.
at this point.
okay, Karen, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thanks. You can still hear me, yeah?
Yeah,
So again, I serve on the committee in a non-voting capacity as representing the select board. I did want to commend the committee because they've really done their due diligence. I just want to reiterate and remind everyone that this has been on the books since 1993. A master plan is something that should be looked at and revisited, and it never came off the master plan. It's in our goals and objectives, and the voters have very clearly that they wanted to move forward and have a chance to vote on this. And I've always been of the mind, we can all have our opinions, and I respect everyone's opinion, but at the end of the day, I really like dealing with facts and figures versus feelings, and the reality is this project needs to get off the starting line, and it is the voters who need to decide, not 5 of us, in my opinion, again, let the voters decide. They voted overwhelmingly for that $50,000 to get to this point, and to not proceed to allow the voters, and this is not a school versus our project, or the senior center, community center project. There's 2 needs, and let the voters have their say, because they're the ones that's gonna be footing the bill. And I think we should not become like we shouldn't block that.
Nobody said anything about blocking anything.
No- no
Just
one
put
did.
put it out there.
we just have more
We're just
questions.
having more questions, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I have a couple more slides, but,
No, yeah.
I mean, the survey, we can skip the one about the the operating costs, those are the numbers that we got from Ashley. Basically, they'd be operating cost increases as well. The senior, the survey question, the only ones we did were the ones about the tax increase, so basically Michelle has already told you what happened there. The seniors came back and said 93% if there was no new taxes, 81% said, you know, a small increase that they'd be willing to pay a tax increase to get a new senior center. And then for the community, it's practically the same, 88% and 80% came back and said
Yeah,
they'd be in
Mr. Chair.
favor of a new senior center.
How
even though-
long was that survey available to people?
Well, the one that we sent out was, I mean, occasionally we're still getting things
Several
back. It was a
months.
couple months ago, and we're still getting them, random ones back now and then.
The community survey is still
It's still up,
ongoing.
it's still
Still
up, and it's,
online?
and it's gonna be
Yeah.
probably another week. It's about 30 days it was total that it's gonna be up.
Just, is this whole thing online for the community to see?
It's in the agenda
yeah.
packet.
All right, so if it's online for people watching, and again, per Karen, facts and figures and data, just so that the public is aware, the 93% in favor and 81% in favor are off survey responses of about 100 survey responses.
Yeah.
The responses of 88 and 80% on whether they would accept a tax increase was only 35 people. So, just for clarity, those watching this, all this data should be online, which means any resident who has a concern or an idea or a thought, whether in favor or opposed, all of this is available and they can go through it themselves.
Through the chair, there were actually more people that replied to this, they just didn't answer those questions.
So only
Just didn't answer
35
the-
people answered a question.
They answered the question, that's right, and
On the
it's not a lot
1100
higher
comment.
than that, but there were people that did just skip those questions altogether.
But this is
But it's-
all available, so anyone can go and read all of it.
Right. That's right.
Wonder why they
So, the next page is just supplemental information, there's
I don't
things that I can
I know.
get to you guys, or Andrew has some of it, I believe. We actually started putting together a website with more info that we can share out there. So, that's where we are. Next steps, we had gone and talked to the finance committee, and now we're here with you to figure out what we have to do next to get this in front of the people of Charlton.
Yep. And I think what I'd like to add on there, just quick, is, when we did the budgets this year, there's a revenue increase, projection that we use every year. And the projected revenue increase for the town this year was $250,000. That's about a 2016 level. If you look at the last 3 or 4 year average, we've had a $3 million revenue increase every single year, and now that hockey stick is going down to $250,000. So keep that in mind when you're looking at things like this. It's not this, if this goes through, and people have to think about it, there's not a shovel in the ground for Amazon like there was before the fire station. You don't have 2 projects coming off like the fire station did. We had 2 debt exclusions that were ending. It was the library and the highway barn, the highway department. You don't have that. I mean, the planets were really aligned for the fire station, and now we're in a $250,000 growth. That's just about going to cover the cost of the utilities.
Do you mind if I ask, like, why that is?
Hmm?
Why is it dropping from 3 million to 250,000?
I can't hear you.
Why is it dropping from 3 million to 250,000?
The revenue growth projection?
Yeah.
That's what the assessors and
We used an extremely conservative growth projection, knowing that the Amazon new growth was ending, which was extraordinary times. So we used a very conservative approach to budget around. Those are solidified, within the next month. We'll get those numbers from the assessor as to what the actuals are, but we do that prior to the latest drastic increase in new growth. The average was somewhere around $350,000, but we were able to tailor our budget to $250,000. Now, any growth over and above that is excess levy capacity. It's monies that we don't tax. So if we can develop a budget within that parameter, that's the number that we're going to use.
Right.
to try to
But,
do a
but
long
just, to-
project.
but just to put everybody on the same page as far as where the town, it's the hockey stick pointing in the wrong direction right now.
So if I could just say for just a minute, if we had addressed this maybe back in '93 or 2000, they were looking at about 2 million for a senior center back then. So the longer we wait, the price is just gonna continue to escalate, so that's all.
I appreciate that. I never go the fear game, and honestly, not that I don't care about what it cost in '93, but I don't care what it cost in '93, because it's not '93.
No,
And-
you know my point, but I was just.
I get it, but, listen, and I will say it because it actually bothers the heck out of me. It's not a bomb shelter. I found that insulting. Seniors here are not treated as second-class citizens. That's insulting. Suggesting that we look at them that way is insulting. And I'm saying that as a senior. It's insulting. We do not treat our seniors or think of them as second-class citizens, and it is not a bomb shelter.
I referred to the room where they had the
As a
durable
bomb
medical
shelter.
equipment. If
You
you'd
refer
like
to the
go
senior
down
center
there,
as a
sir.
bomb shelter.
Mr. Singer, I will take you down to the
I
durable
would like you to
medical
watch the
equipment.
video. I don't care about the durable equipment room. I care about how you refer to the senior center as a bomb
Well,
shelter
I'm-
that puts them as second-class citizens. I'm just telling you, that's insulting.
I
Can I,
can understand your opinion, I disagree.
if I would, and this may seem anecdotal, but you saw something tonight that I have never seen in town government. And that is a presentation where we talked about a senior center of $21 million 3 years ago. And we're coming in here now with a much different cost factor. I've never seen that happen. You go 3 years and it's less money to do the job.
We've done that
And
with,
that's a
we've
tear
done it
down.
here, we've done it with fire.
With
Fire
fire
was here,
station.
came here, we've done it with a lot of things in Charlton.
That's exactly what we did.
All the
The
time.
arts and
Yeah,
activities
we
was
had
gonna be
two-
torn down.
It's a regular occurrence in Charlton.
So that would have been land,
I
just
wanna-
land two.
With the
But
pub, with
I
the
don't-
fire
listen.
station at the third strike, they got it right.
To the chair, I
Mr.
wanna
Chair.
can I just clarify one
Yeah,
thing completely
please.
off of this discussion? So there was said more than once that there was overwhelmingly passing through the town. The feasibility study passed, I don't think that was that overwhelming, but the building never passed. Is that correct? We already voted, that was already going through the town on the building itself.
No,
No, we have,
No,
Was
no,
it
no,
that?
no.
Wasn't a
It was
building put
just
on
the house doctor to be able to go in and do
for the
it.
sale of that building a few years
So
back?
That was
What
a
was-
citizen, there was a citizen's petition at one time to try
To buy that
to try
furniture.
to acquire, but did not pass at
Did
town
not pass.
meeting.
So
And it
that,
wa-
the building itself didn't pass once already, so I'm
And
on
it-
the right track.
And it was different.
Feasibility passed.
And it was different too, because it included the other building, it was a much bigger property, it included the other building that's now in some kind of electric
Right.
company or something like that. So
What was
in
that?
that time,
That's right, it
since
was
then,
4.5 or
they
something.
split it with the planning
Right.
board.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
what-
okay.
They originally wanted 3 million.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but for
okay.
both, but
For
for
both
all the
buildings.
structures.
3 buildings.
both.
They
the
wanted 3 million for
structures.
everything.
And now they want 2
Three
million
buildings.
for one.
2 buildings and an extra acre and a half.
A frame.
Right.
A building frame.
Yeah, Michelle, yeah.
To David's point, I do wanna say that the town has, recently put some effort downstairs and, they put some drop ceiling into the pool room, they put some drop ceiling into the hallway, they painted the walls downstairs in the hallway, so it is starting to look much more like a town hall, and I do appreciate that, and they're gonna fix the floor soon, I understand, so to David's point, they have put some effort in downstairs to paint the floor, the walls and put the drop ceiling in, and there was exposed wires galore, exposed pipes galore for years and years. So recently, there has been efforts to improve downstairs, so I do wanna acknowledge that and be thankful for that, because it is absolutely an improvement in the past year, yeah.
And I'm not sure everyone heard me, but with the 21.8 million, that was also going to be a tear down and a complete tear down and rebuild. Everything was, except for the barn was gonna be moved.
No.
So that was no different. I mean, it was worse than this scenario.
And there was no parking in that other scenario for 21
That
million.
too.
There was no parking, so we couldn't support, at least I couldn't support a $21 million for a beautiful facility, but no one can get to.
But if you look at the numbers, and if we found a piece of land, which I'm, for half that, now all of a sudden, the price to build is the same. And maybe there's there's realtors probably watching this, and you might get calls tomorrow. Might be something closer.
So what are you saying? The town would buy a piece of land and then spend the
Well, you-
12 million,
I mean,
11.6 million to build
An acre of
a?
land on Dresser Hill doesn't sell for 900,000.
No.
It sells for maybe 150, 200,000 with a view. Doesn't sell for 900,000.
I don't know.
It's probably commercial, maybe grandfathered commercial,
Well-
maybe, but. it's,
All right, so Andrew, can you just, for the
Yeah.
next meeting, can we get a time frame so we know how to?
And, you know, the option steps.
Yeah, next steps, that's what we need.
And the
We
next meeting
definitely
doesn't,
need a
yeah,
senior
the next
center, we
meeting
do.
doesn't,
Not right now.
doesn't affect the warrant or anything, it's still. And on that whole fear, I've seen us, we've opened warrants before.
Okay,
I've seen that happen too.
all right, we appreciate that.
No?
All right.
It's
Any
a lot.
other
I just
questions?
wanna commend you, great presentation, really,
No,
really nice.
no,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
you
well,
go
it's good,
excellent.
yeah, and you-
So
And-
hard.
And for the second, don't think that we think that we don't need a senior
Thank
center,
you.
we absolutely,
Thank
I
you.
speak for myself, but I know everybody
Thank you.
really is done.
Just one last thing, the owner has agreed to allow us to do an open house up there, so we're planning on doing that in September if we can.
Is he gonna tear all the walls down, the roof off before we go look at it?
No, there are not very many walls in there.
There's no walls in it, so basically, you know, we might tape it off and show people this is where the kitchen would be,
Yeah.
whatever. But that'll be open to the whole community as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pam, Andrew, that trolley crossing, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Do we have a request for future agenda items?
Sir,
we
I have
saw it.
one,
What?
there's
so-
one.
Oh,
agenda.
David, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
David, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'll be very quick. There's only honestly two fees I actually wanted to ask the board to consider reducing or eliminating. The one's not on this list. I would like to eventually get into marriage licenses and whatnot, but I would like to zero out, if we can, all fees for death certificate copies. I'm trying to find it on here, but basically, I mean, I have a screenshot.
What is it?
Deaths, you're averaging about 160 certs a year, and about, well, I don't have just theirs, we're looking about 7,000 a year on average for all certs. That includes marriage, death, birth. I just would like to zero out death certificates. I think that at that point in someone's life, going through a tragedy, the last thing we should be doing is nickel and diming people for photocopies. And when you go through it, you realize sometimes it's just more often than not, it's not even like you need a copy. You need 6, you might need 20, because
Everybody
you're
knows.
dealing with, exactly, you're dealing with the horrors of a loss and having to let all the credit cards, loans, property, it's a nightmare. I would like to zero that out. The other fees I would like to zero out is not on here. It should be, because it is under our board now, and that's dog licenses that we do about 2,800 a year on average, and dog licenses are making around 27,000 a year on average for the town. I'm not asking to zero out all.
I just want to point out, the reason why they weren't on that list is because those fees are set by bylaw, not by the Board of Selectmen. They're in that's what, so you would have to change the bylaw.
So then might I ask you to change the bylaw
So
so that
what-
seniors and veterans, which is my target, do not have to pay for dog licenses. I do not believe our seniors or our veterans should have to pay for the quote privilege of companionship. And I believe canine companionship for our seniors and our veterans is paramount. You still have to license. I would like to see that if we remove that, there's no longer a obstacle to licensing the dogs, especially if you have seniors or vets on fixed incomes. If they don't license, you're still going to be subject to the fines, late fees, and everything else. But we remove the obstacle, and I think we should not be charging, again, seniors and veterans who need that companionship. We don't charge for cats, right, that run all over town, sit on neighbors' porches and set off the other people's cats and dogs, but we require for dogs. I would love to see all dog licenses go away, but let's just focus on seniors and veterans, please.
Is that a pass-through to the ACO and that thing, though, or is that?
It's under the town clerk, manages that, and per the requirements, It says that we may charge, but that doesn't say we have to or have to charge a certain amount. It could be a penny, it could be zero. It's the town's discretion, and I would like to see if it's something we can just vote on to do, or if it's that we have to vote to make a bylaw change and put it out for that vote to make dog licenses for seniors and veterans free. I'd like to see that done, and I'd like to see it done hopefully sooner rather than later. I think that's the least we could do for our seniors and veterans.
Yeah.
I just have one question. At what age are we considering seniors? 'Cause
I would say whatever the town already uses for its senior legal definition for the senior center, or whatever the town.
No, it's 60. They use 60.
So if the town's threshold is 60, then that's the threshold, whatever the town's threshold. There's no, for a senior, obviously it's easy to document, and for a veteran, sir, it should also be easy to demonstrate that you are a veteran to get the benefit of not having to pay for the dog license. I think our vets and our seniors really benefit a lot from canine companionship, and I think it's a crime that we're charging them for what shouldn't even be a privilege
and
to have a dog.
deaths.
You know,
certificates,
death
you said
certificates.
0?
I would like to see death certificates go 0, yes.
And marriage.
I'm good with that.
I'd like to see marriage if possible. It's almost like a, hey, wishing you the best of luck. Here's your certificate. It's not like it takes moving mountains to give someone a certificate.
And birth.
I'm trying not to ask to zero out everything.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I'd
is
like
that-
to,
No,
you
I'm
know
not
that,
good.
but I
No,
can't
no,
The
no.
death
ask for
certificate,
everyone.
I'm good
On-
with,
on
the rest I
birth.
would not, I would keep. The
Alright, so
death
I-
certificate, good.
I saw births actually jumped out at me.
Do you notice that
Birth.
they're consistent though? Birth, death, marriage, there's over all
They
those
go with
years,
each other.
there's very little change
Yeah.
between birth, death, marriage. It's amazingly consistent. But so yes,
Through the chair, I'm sorry, David, just still talking, go ahead.
go ahead, Karen. I'm done. that was all I wanted to do was the dogs for seniors and veterans, and death and birth was all I really cared about. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, so I understand where you're coming from.
I mean marriage.
The question, what was, and again, I'm having issues hearing some comments, what was the total loss of revenue? And personally, before we make any kind of decision, I'd really like to know how we're gonna make up for those dollars, because I'm assuming they're going into a place and being used for something that's needed.
So
Andrew?
one of those total fees, which includes all birth, deaths, marriage, everything, averages less than $8,000 a year, and we're not looking to zero all of them out. Just the death and marriage. And as for dogs, to Karen's point, while we're talking an average of, I would say it's gonna average around $27,000. That's all dog licenses. We're only looking to zero out hopefully seniors and veterans. Everyone else in town still has to pay the dog license fees. And then even seniors and veterans, if they failed to license, are still responsible for late fees and fines.
You still have the license, you just don't have to pay.
Correct, you have to get the license.
So,
That is
and
required.
rabies and all that,
You
yeah,
still
yeah.
have, absolutely, shots, and you're not off the hook.
Yeah, yeah.
But we remove an obstacle for seniors and vets, and and honestly, it's also, besides removing an obstacle, it's a benefit I think that they deserve. That's just me.
If I were to guess, it's probably half that number. Revenue.
Well, there's only, if we have 5,000 seniors,
No, less than
they
that.
don't all have dogs, so it's gonna be significantly less than that.
And vets.
It is just-
I'm
it's just-
personally good with the dog licenses for the vets and the
Seniors,
I'm good with the death. Other than that,
that's all I really was asking for.
other than that, I will keep everything as it is.
But we can
You have to
do,
pay for the marriage.
yeah,
very
but, so
expensive
we
to
can
divorce.
vote, but we can't vote until the next meeting
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
Right? But even if we wanted to pursue, a bylaw change for dog licenses for vets and seniors, it still would have to be, again, voted on at a future meeting anyway. But I wanted to get this out there. I wanted everyone on this board to know what I would like
Yeah.
to see us pursue.
I like that.
Okay.
I have one
Very
question,
thoughtful.
probably for Andrew. I guess my only question is with the dog licenses, is there a cost to the town to get these in order to give them?
Well, we do have to purchase the
Tags.
tags. There's certification, there's, I don't wanna say it's, what it's really kind of doing is going into, any of the fees that we collect in this goes into the general operating budget. So when we're budgeting every year, we're kind of looking to say, okay, we're receiving this revenue from all these different areas, and that goes into the global budget. So obviously it goes to slightly subsidized town clerk, ACO, those things that we have in the general operating budget. So it's kind of like that, here's that equivalent cost within that gigantic budget that goes toward each fee if you were to really break it down to effort. I just wanted, just the other point I just wanted to note, so Mass General Law Charter 4022F is the current section of law that we are referring to that sets the current fee. With some of these, there is another applicable statute that may default back to that says that this is the default number, and I think that those might be like $2, $1, $2, and it was like, unless a town has adopted this to increase the fee, as adopted 4022F to increase the fee, then it defers it back to that. I'll just have to ask council as to whether or not you can go any lower than that.
So you have homework.
Homework. Yeah, I just have to ask to see
He's
if you
got
can
homework.
actually zero them out, or if they have to be that state
I would like,
statutory
I would,
amount.
so preference, zero amount for seniors and vets. And if not allowed, make it the $1 or whatever the minimum is. And like, so people at home, I'm sure hopefully they can read this, but Andrew did a wonderful job. And shows, where it even says right here, you know, that the board is empowered to issue permit, whatever. They can read it, but the board has the ability to fix them and change them. And hopefully Andrew will now come back with, okay, here's how far you can go to that end.
Yeah,
and
so I
have to
really
have
wanted to dig into some of
conversation
them where
part
it was
two.
like, some of where, they could sit, not like, just as Joe in Old Meadows, your bylaw basically says you can't have an amount less than $2. So you
can we
can't, that's the
continue?
bottom threshold.
So can we like have this on the next meeting in September so that we can
Yeah.
continue the conversation? Maybe Andrew will have more answers
Yep,
for
and
us.
I can be a little bit more focused, do a little more research and try to get some more information on this.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
See, I told you I'd be quick and painless. Quick, not painless.
A dog-friendly town.
It is a dog-friendly town. Well, Mr. Chair. I
Okay,
would
so
make
we're on to, any future agenda items?
Well, we're gonna
Anybody?
bring back the time.
I'll be back.
We might change that to board deliberate, it's always board deliberation and vote, even if we're not voting.
Yeah.
It's just the section, yeah. Next meeting, sir?
Next meeting date is September 8th, 2026, 6:30 PM, Town Hall, Meeting Room Number 1. I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved, sir.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll
Oh,
call?
wait,
Aye.
sorry.
I heard roll.
Basha?
Roll call.
Bashai.
Steve, aye.
Mike, aye.
David, aye.
Sharon, aye. Thanks, everyone.
Yep, thank you.
Have a good night.
Y'all have a good day.